Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that, cools up to 8 times faster, and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Was January supposed to be your big fresh start? Well, sometimes the pressure to fix everything at once just can leave you feeling stuck. Grow Therapy makes it easier to reset at your own pace with therapy that's covered by insurance and built around your life. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0, depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/ACAST to get started. That's growtherapy.com/ACAST. growtherapy.com/ACAST. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Oh, the kettle's boiled. Excellent timing. I'll just make myself a quick cuppa, take a deep breath and pretend I know exactly what I'm doing. Right, let's get started. Have you ever woken up on a Sunday morning with massive anxiety and said to yourself, I'm never drinking again, only to find yourself waving $50 at a barman by happy hour? Do you ever wonder why everyone else can stop at 1 while you end up at a dodgy after party holding hands with a weird bloke called Disco Dave? If so, it might be time to take a closer look at your reliable social crutch, alcohol. On this podcast, I investigate my own deeply dysfunctional dealings with booze and find out what it's really like navigating this alcohol-drenched world, one fizzy water at a time. I'm going to open up a shame shed of humiliating drinking stories to help you understand why waking up with one eyebrow missing and a kebab sticking out of your top pocket might actually be negatively impacting your health. So what happens when you put down those cheeky pints and finally let go of those rewarding mummy wines? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm Victoria Vanstone, and this is Sober Awkward. Anyone hairbrushes? Tuck shop money's on the side. No, I don't have any money for fishing reels. George, I've got to do the podcast. Shut the door. All right, love you, bye. Gosh. It never seems to end. Fishing reels is better than Class A drugs. Right, let's get on with this. Before we get into today's episode, or I have to go to BCF to find a specific tackle box or lure or reel, I just want to say thanks for all the feedback about my first solo episode last week. As you probably know, I'm a complete people pleaser and seem to need the approval of others for everything I do. So your kind words helped. They sunk in and they were very much appreciated. And I felt good because others told me that was okay to do. Which I know is wrong, but is also very right. I guess that's what I'm here nattering on about today. Apart from lovely people I don't know telling me I did a good job, I've had a bit of a weird week. Kids, work, hormones, life, all chasing their own tails, while I'm stood in the middle pretending I'm absolutely fine. I've caught myself saying, yeah, I'm good, how are you, on repeat, when really inside I've wanted to curl up in a ball and ignore the world for a few days. But instead of doing that, I'm here, sitting in my son's bedroom, talking into a microphone and getting it all off my chest, which feels slightly unhinged but also oddly restorative, if that is even a word. But I guess that's what it's like being a mum. Sometimes you just have to get on with things, even if you're feeling like shit. Some days I just want to stay in bed and watch reality television. Housewives and Overboard, whatever it's called, the boat one, that's my favourite. But yes, you can't. You have to get up and you have to get on with it and you have to pretend that feels good. And often it doesn't. And that is the point of today's episode, because today I'm talking about feelings, those pesky emotions that seem to show up more loudly once you stop drinking, sometimes gently, sometimes all at once, sometimes completely out of nowhere. I think for me, alcohol numbed my feelings for years. And if I did feel something, happy or sad, I either cranked it up or shut it down. Booze was basically fuel on the feelings fire. So when I stopped drinking, there was a lot bubbling up that I'd never actually dealt with. It hadn't gone anywhere. It had just been shoved somewhere darker with a vague hope I'd never have to look at it again. But once I got sober, I opened up that cupboard. Everything came tumbling out all at once. For most of my life, I didn't really have feelings, or at least I didn't notice them. And now I feel like I have all the feelings all the time, constantly on rotation. It's probably a heady cocktail of ADHD, RSD, PTSD, and what I'm going to call BPFTLTW, which is being pissed for the last 20 years. A highly unscientific diagnosis, I realise, but I'll stand by it for now. When I went sober 8 years ago, I had absolutely no idea that it would open the floodgates like this. I thought I'd just give up booze and that would be it, that I'd choose a different drink at the pub than everybody else. I didn't realise I was also signing up to feel everything I'd been avoiding. All the thoughts, all the emotions, and all the stuff that had been politely circling the drain while alcohol kept the lid firmly on. I didn't want to open that lid because I was scared of what was inside. And for me, everything that had happened in my life, I thought, I'll just shove that under the carpet. You can't change the past and I'll get on with my sober life. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. And it's why I did therapy. Those thoughts were no use just rattling around in my own head, I realised after a while. They didn't resolve themselves and they just spun faster and faster until I felt dizzy. And actually, that dizziness, I have to say, was a message that I needed someone else to help me unravel all of my thoughts and unravel me in a sense. And now, even though some days are hard, or this week, I'm not as scared to feel the feelings anymore. I can notice what's going on, take myself for a walk, make a strong cup of tea, and let the feelings pass without it turning into a full-blown crisis. I don't always enjoy it, but I can move through it. And more often than not, I come out the other side having learnt something about myself, which is a massive upgrade from just numbing it and repeating the same cycle over and over again. I wanted to have this conversation with someone who's actually going through this in real time, someone who isn't looking back neatly with hindsight, but is right in the thick of it. And my mate Kate immediately popped into my head. I met Kate on the Sober Awkward retreat last October. At the time, she was dealing with something huge back home. Her mum was unwell and Kate was away trying to hold it together while facing the possibility that her mum might not make it. Kate had a complicated relationship with her mum, so a lot of unresolved feelings started to surface, stuff she'd pushed down for years, stuff alcohol had helped keep neatly buried. On the retreat, I'll just tell you very quickly, I hold a writing morning and I do it about alcohol, and at one point in it we get to write about our turning points and then read them out to the rest of the group. And it sounds really confronting, but actually it was really lovely and healing, and we had a cry for each other and a cry ourselves, and it was a really nice way to connect with people by sharing our stories. And Kate, I think, found it very difficult to tell her story because she felt a lot of shame about the feelings that she had about life and about what had happened to her and about her drinking past. But once she started sharing her feelings, I think she felt something shift in her sobriety. And that will happen to a lot of people. And you start to realise that it feels good to talk about stuff. Sadly, Kate's mum did pass away, and now Kate is doing something incredibly hard, not only by coming on this podcast and talking about it, but uncovering how she actually feels, learning that it's okay to have emotions and figuring out what it's like to feel everything without having a drink to soften the edges. So today's episode's about that, feelings, about what happens when you stop numbing, about why emotions can feel terrifying, messy, inconvenient, and also strangely healing. So if you're sober and you're feeling a bit raw lately or wondering why everything feels closer to the surface, this one is for you. So today we're unpacking why feelings can be one of the most terrifying and rewarding parts of going sober. Let's have a chat with my mate Kate to see how her feelings are. Probably as frazzled as mine. So Kate, it's so lovely to have you on the Sober Awkward podcast. I want to start right at the beginning. What sort of drinker were you?
When I was much younger, I was a bit of a nightmare drinker. I was someone who would go out most nights. I was proper party animal. I would be the one who you could almost guarantee would be more drunk than anybody else. I would be the one going around the optics with a pint glass, topping up with everything I could find. Very similar to your kind of drinking, to be fair, Vic. I was that kind of girl. I think I just always wanted to impress. By the time I gave up, I had 3 kids and I was a bit more your mummy wine drinker, but at the weekends would always take it too far.
I knew, Kate, that we were so similar when you sent me a text message with a lanyard that you'd worn to a festival that said on the front, "If found, please return to," with a photograph of you with your address on the back. We are very similar drinkers, and we were also very similar in the way that we found our sobrieties. No rock bottoms here, but just general red flags whipping us across the face. Would you agree?
For years, red flags. What I know now, after having stopped drinking, I can see those red flags over the years. I did used to Google, am I an alcoholic? You know, that awful word alcoholic, it just seems to conjure up so much shame. And I thought the only option was sitting in an AA meeting. And that's what just put me off. I never felt I was that person who could sit there and say, my name's Kate and I'm 54 and I'm an alcoholic. And it wasn't me. So yes, there were definitely many red flags over the years. It was actually listening to one of your episodes of Sober Awkward that really made those red flags. This is after I had given up actually, but you did an episode on red flags and gosh, that was quite eye-opening. I was like, oh yes, that was me. And I do see that in other people now. I can see the red flags.
It's funny how when you search that, am I an alcoholic on Google, when you're in bed hungover after a festival or something, and how you make sure that you are not that person. You read through it and go, yeah, I've done that, but I'm not, that's not who I am. Yeah. And you end up using that exact thing to tell you that you're an alcoholic, to tell you that you are not an alcoholic, because you go, I'm not that far gone, so that's not me, so I won't Google that again and I'll just carry on getting pissed for another 15 years.
Yeah, you always seem to find somebody's worse than you, don't you? Go, I'm not that bad. I'm not as bad as she is, so I'm okay, Jack. Thanks. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. People now still think she wasn't that bad. You know, she wasn't an alcoholic.
It's funny how people undermine your relationship with alcohol a lot of the time. I find that too. Like people say, you weren't that bad. And I remember saying it to my sister when she gave up drinking as well. She had been to AA and I just remember thinking, oh, for God's sake, this is all a bit dramatic. Slow down. Like, you're fine. You drink like everybody else does. And I remember being disappointed, like she was a real party pooper. And it's funny that now people undermine my drinking habit because they didn't see me on a Sunday morning full of anxiety, feeling like absolute shit. So therefore they couldn't see the impact it was having on my life. So it's so annoying when you have to explain to people that I wasn't that bad. I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't far down the line, but I had a problem because it was making me feel like shit. I didn't know who I was and I was relying upon it in every single social situation, which so many people do. So it's very hard to see a problem even when there are those red flags.
I see now that actually making that decision to stop was actually really brave. I'm actually really proud of myself now that I stepped out of that circle of repetitiveness. It was the same. I got to the point where it was the same every weekend. We'd go out, go for a drink, maybe go for a curry, go for a meal. I'd normally have my head in the curry halfway through the night. Chris always jokes now that he says Kate never realised that they did puddings in curry houses because I was normally way gone by that point. I was normally like, too far down the line. I'd much rather another drink than a pudding. I think it's the fear of the unknown for people that are still in there and still doing what I was doing. It's the fear of the unknown about giving up. And that's what I want to do, is to let people know, actually, it's all right over here in Soberland. It's great.
It's fine. Yeah, it's a sparkly water utopia. You don't need to be scared. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. And you don't lie in bed feeling like you want to die on a daily basis. Now, Kate, in the intro, when we were in Thailand, obviously you had a bit of a serious situation going on at home. Unfortunately, it coincided with the time when your mum was really poorly. And unfortunately, she did pass away on the day that you arrived home back in England. And I know that relationship, if you're happy to talk about it with me, was probably one of the reasons why you drank. And today the topic is feelings, and we're going to talk about how to feel feelings in sobriety and how we hid them away when we were massive drinkers. And I know that a lot of your history is to do with you holding your feelings inside. Can you tell me a bit about that?
My mum she was a narcissist. She was just quite cruel. If I showed emotion, she would mimic me. If I was really happy, she didn't like that. She didn't like the fact I had a very good relationship with my dad. That didn't go down too well. I just seemed to be her victim. Once, years ago, I thought, I'm going to really try at this relationship. And I took my 3 children, they were very young, and her, we went down to St Ives in Cornwall, lovely weekend away. I thought, come on, let's do this. It was her sort of happy place. We were at St Michael's Mount and Alice was playing with a cheesy bug on the ground. Mum was getting quite impatient and Alice was too happy with this cheesy bug. So eventually, Mum's, Alice, come on. And Alice thought, I'm just coming. In the end, my mum just walked over and stamped on the cheesy bug in front of her. I was fuming. I didn't say anything. I just learnt to not show vulnerability, show sadness, I did show happiness. I am quite generally quite a happy person. That's something that I think she didn't like because she wasn't a happy person.
Yeah. So growing up, did you feel like you couldn't really be yourself or express yourself to your mum? Because that would have been quite hard.
Oh, definitely. I think every girl needs a mum, don't they? I think. And I really struggled to tell her that I'd started my periods. I couldn't tell her that. I had 6 months of dealing with that without telling her. I actually wrote her a letter in the end. She actually got a friend to give me the talk. You know, she was clearly not comfortable with that. And then I wanted to go on the pill. I thought I was making a very sensible decision at 17. I can imagine at maybe 14, 15, that might have been a bit of an issue, but I had to go to the doctors, have an examination. They gave me an x-ray form. My mum worked at the hospital. She said, give me the form. But on the form it had, wants to go on contraceptive pill. And I was like, oh no. So I thought, here we go, I'm going to tell her. And it did. It took me all my courage to say, oh, Mum, I had to go to the doctor because I wanted to go on the contraceptive pill. And she just called me a slut. And that was the end of that. And that cut really deep. I was a young girl who was trying to do the right thing and look after myself. I never was a slut. It hit quite hard.
I was.
I think we've established that, Vic.
I was a complete slut. It's clear that when you're around someone who's not being very nice to you, at the time you just think, oh, this is weird, this isn't very nice. And it's not until so much later in your life that you go, oh my gosh, this has caused me a lot of damage. I feel damaged. And it causes repercussions, which is within your behaviour and within how you feel about yourself. It sounds like you learned quite early that showing feelings perhaps wasn't safe, or that emotions were something to suppress rather than share. Do you think that's why drinking felt useful, because it gave you permission to feel less?
Yeah, I do. To an extent, when I was drinking much more, it was obviously numbing out. I remember back to when I was 16, 17 maybe, at a party or at a do, and everyone's in there having a great time. And quite often, actually, I feel quite sorry for myself now. I would be the one sitting outside and I was really upset. I remember crying, and it was clearly I had a lot going on inside. But the alcohol did, to an extent of when you were drinking, the alcohol, before you went too far, would actually let some of those emotions out. I'd get really upset and be the one sitting outside crying my eyes out. I wouldn't have been crying had I not been drinking. Sober back then, I would suppress feelings, but occasionally, if I hadn't got too drunk, I would actually let them out. But I think the thing that alcohol did for me, it got me likes. It was something I was quite good at, I thought, and something people found funny.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
Did I talk too much? Should have handled that. I just let it go. I wish I would stop. I was thinking so much. Did I talk too much? I wish I would stop. Just let it go.
Take a breath. You're not alone. Let's talk about what's going on.
Counseling helps you sort through the noise with qualified professionals, and online therapy makes it convenient. See if it's for you. Visit betterhelp.com/randompodcast for 10% off your first month of online therapy and let life feel better.
And people like me for doing it and and that's one thing I wasn't really used to. I think when you feel your mum doesn't like you much, you want to try and go out and find some people who like you. And being the one that was clearing the floor of a pub so that I could do flips and use every swear word I could think of in my head. Watch out, I'm going to do a flip across the floor in front of everybody. They found it hilarious. And I was like, oh, I think I'm onto something here.
That feeling is addictive in itself, isn't it? Especially for me, I had a very similar experience. It wasn't with my mum, but it was with my mates that never spoke to me again. And I saw my drinking, just like you, as a way to get people to like me and to laugh at me and to make people happy and think, oh, this is nice. This is a way of me creating friends and I'm making people love me. That's what I needed. Yeah. I needed love like you needed love, to our own detriment. And yeah, I gave myself away and abandoned my body for the entertainment of others all the time. That's something that I did. And it's really difficult to stop that behavior because it just becomes so intrinsic that you just keep on doing this. Yeah. And this is my personality and everybody likes me and this is who I am. And I can't change because why would I? Because then maybe I won't feel loved anymore. And I know we don't think that, but that's probably what we're dealing with internally. I remember, Kate, on holiday while we were in Thailand last year, we were floating on the pool one night. I think it was the last night. Everyone had gone to bed and we found these blow-up beds and we were floating on the pool and we were talking about our feelings, weren't we? We were expressing ourselves. You told me loads of stories from your past. And one of them, which I think is very relevant for today's episode, was a time where your emotions had been very pent up for a while and you ended up going on holiday with a mate on a camping trip to Cornwall or something. I can't remember, or Wales or something like that. I remember the story. Yeah, the Isle of Wight. And something happened that may show that there was stuff going on with you and it was going to come out in different ways.
My best friend and I went off to the Isle of Wight for a week. We were 18 years old. We took a tent, off we went, great fun. She just ended up pushing my buttons all week and it erupted. She pushed my buttons all week. And actually, unfortunately, on the last night, we had been at some neighbours and they had given us some 8.5% lager, which I'm not using as an excuse, really, because I shouldn't have done what I did. But I did drink this drink. It was like syrup and it just pushed me over the edge. We got back to the tent and things just erupted and I attacked her and I'm mortified and it's one of my most shameful, even we were 18, I'm 54 now, so this was a long time ago. I just still feel such shame about that and why I took it that far. But I think, as you say, it was emotions that had built up over time, probably from home. Somebody else is now pushing my buttons and an inside volcano exploded and she got the brunt of it, which I feel really sad about. And I'm sure she has her own story and probably doesn't quite know what happened that week, which maybe is something we need, because we are still friends. And she did do a reading at my wedding and it didn't really help, but her father was a policeman and threatened to sue me.
Oh God.
Luckily he didn't.
I can't quite believe that story. It just shows you the effect that alcohol can have on you, especially alcohol combined with suppressed emotions. I can't believe it, Kate. Like, you're so tiny. I can't imagine you. I think I'm going to be a bit more careful around you now in case you've got any pent-up emotions towards me. You might suddenly leap on me.
This is the thing. It was so, I say out of character, I can be a little bit feisty, but not fisty. Yeah. I was 18. It's not happened since. I've not laid my hands on anyone. And as I say, I really am not proud of that. And I feel huge shame over it.
Yeah. So when you stopped drinking, Kate, when did these emotions really start bubbling up? I know you're 4 years in now, but was it immediate straight away as soon as you stopped, or did they creep in once the numbing stopped?
Yeah, definitely crept in. And I can't think how long it was. I think it's a bit of a weird one, this one. One of the weirdest things I realised after I'd given up drinking, it was maybe 6 months, 8 months in. I think I'd flown somewhere and I got on the flight, got off, and I suddenly thought, well, that's weird. I used to be quite an anxious flyer. I would obviously have a drink at the airport when I got there. I was have a drink on the plane, have a drink. And I remember thinking after, I thought, do you know what? I do not get anxious about flying anymore at all. And that was the first feeling. I thought the only thing that has changed is that I don't drink anymore. So that was definitely a feeling that I felt. And I seem to have gone from an anxious flyer to not an anxious flyer anymore. And I think when you give up drinking, you do realise that alcohol is like pouring petrol on anxiety, isn't it? It
Absolutely.
just makes things a whole lot worse. So for me, that was the first thing. But then gradually over time, I feel a little bit, I don't know, maybe freer to be able to look into all of these feelings that I've suppressed. And I look at my kids and I think, actually, they're pretty good. My son went to drama school and he is really good with his emotions. He can let it all out if he needs to, but I think that's going to drama school. I think they dip in and out of that, don't they? Being actors and things, they're quite good. And my girls are much better about talking about things than I ever was. So I do have them now. And actually I do not lean on them. I try not to burden them with any of my worries, but we do talk. I talk with my kids and I talk with Chris. I'm getting better at talking with Chris, actually, because Chris is a little bit similar to I with emotions. But we're a good team. We're getting better at discussing things.
And I think it can be really hard for men. Like John isn't great. We do sit down and we share emotions, but I always find I'm the one that's a little bit more dramatic, or the one in a few more tears, or the one that finds things harder. He's more stoic in his approach to everything, and he's a bit more practical. And I think for me, I find it harder. And that's hormonal as well. There's a lot going on with women. We've got a lot to deal with. But it's actually quite nice balance in the end, because then I go, okay, I need to be a bit more like John and snap out of this and I can get on with my life. At the beginning of the podcast, Kate, I was telling the listeners about how this week I've been feeling a bit weird and how sometimes I pretend to be okay a lot of the time and just get on with things, and this kind of chin up attitude. And I think in the old days when I felt like that, I would have obviously had a drink and gone, I've had a shit day, let's have a glass of wine. And when you go sober, obviously you can't do that. You're confronted with all of your emotions on a day-to-day basis and you have to push on through. So what's that been like for you, having to push through all of these emotions? Do you feel like you're learning loads?
I learn something new every day. I set up a little Instagram page, actually, just before we came to Thailand. I thought, maybe I'll set up this little, so I don't have to go on about sobriety on my Instagram page. I set up this sort of sober Instagram page, and I follow lots of sober people now. So daily I'm getting information thrown at me. Gosh, there's so many quotes, so many things on there. And I think, definitely I'm learning every day, and I'm definitely feeling the feels every day. I think my only thing is I feel as if for Chris and family, I feel as if I'm being a bit self-indulgent. I feel as if it's all about me at the moment and my feelings and what's going on with me. But I think my children have all now grown up. They've all left home. And actually I'm trying to get used to the fact that actually I have got a bit more time for me now, and I am going to focus on me a bit more now. And that's why I went to Thailand on my own, solo trip. Absolutely brilliant. What a great thing to do. So yes, I'm definitely learning about feelings, but I feel as if I'm a real beginner with it. I feel as if I'm starting back at the beginning. And I'm trying to work my way through. And it's quite interesting seeing on all these lovely sober people's pages that I'm in the same boat as a lot of them. There's other people out there who feel just the same. And that is power. I feel safe there. And with our lovely guys that we were on the retreat with, we have our WhatsApp group, don't we? That's another safe space that if things are getting a bit too much, we can pop a little message on there, and they're all there for us, aren't they?
Yeah, I had a lovely message from one of our friends, Nikki, today, who's a violinist who's going off to live in Europe next week. He sent me the
Lord
same...
Nikki.
Yeah, Lord Nikki sent me a message to say, I'm feeling the same as you this week, Vic. It's like when there's big decisions to be made, when there's change, it feels like the times when I used to drink. And that's why I find it hard. But with every time I push through a situation that I'm finding difficult, this week I felt like on the edge of depression a little bit. I know how that feels. I'm not quite stepping into it, but I felt, gosh, there's so much going on and I feel dysregulated. And when I feel like that, I remember why I used to drink. It doesn't mean to say I want to, but I go, oh yeah, this is why. This is exactly what I would want to numb out with a glass of wine, which of course never worked and probably made me 10 times more anxious the next day. But I can totally see the reasons why. And like with your mum and all of that situation, I can see the reasons why you were a massive drinker throughout your life. Have you had any therapy, Kate? That was one of my questions.
No. Do you know what? I'm on the border of booking myself some sessions. I had therapy years and years ago. I think the doctor sent me for about 6 sessions, and I just didn't really get on with it. I had this lady who did this weird technique with me who just I think it was on about the third session. We were halfway through it, and then she just suddenly went quiet and just sat there staring at me. And I'm staring at her. She's staring at me. It was probably only a minute, but a minute's a long time when there's only two of you in a room and one of them's looking at you. I literally didn't know if she was going to kiss me or kick me. I think it is some sort of technique where they want to see whether you're going to say, what are you doing? But of course I didn't.
That's a bit of a strange technique to
I know, it was a long time ago.
That's a weird thing to do, just to sit there eyeballing you like that.
Talk about awkward. It was really awkward. So anyway, that I did go back the following week and I saw out those 6 sessions, but but now things are very different. That must have been 30 something years ago. So I am really on the brink of booking myself some sessions. And the reason I hesitate is that I know if I booked a session with someone I didn't get on with them, I'd feel awful about saying no. I'd think, I got to stick with them now.
You've got to find the right one. If it's not the right person, it's never, ever going to work. And for me, it was like when I went to therapy, I've been a few times in my life, I pop back every now and again. I just feel like they are able to unravel all of your problems and open you up and crack you open like a coconut and see what's going on inside. And it really straightened things out for me. I didn't even know that I had a problem with drinking when I walked into therapy, and I walked out going, oh my God, I never need to drink again. And what a bloody relief it was. But I know you will never drink again because you're very confident in your sobriety.
No.
But I would say it would be good to uncover all of that stuff with your mum, especially now that she's gone. I think it's always a great thing to do. And even Hamish, he's the most happy-go-lucky, jolly chap you'll ever meet. He went to see a therapist when we were doing Sober Awkward for a while because he was worried about his work and all sorts of things. And even though he's someone who is very confident in himself, he still found it hugely inspiring, and it really helped him make some big and important decisions.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. I do have my mum in the back of my head who I know would be in a therapy. What do you think?
Yeah.
I know I've got to get over that. But that's been ingrained. And I also am slightly worried what will happen if they crack me open.
Yeah.
I'm going to unravel. And there's a lot, I think, which I have always tried to deal with on my own. I'm like, I'm all right. I can deal with this. I will just get on. A bit of a brush it under the carpet situation. Like when you woke up with a steaming hangover, wondering what the bloody hell you did last night. It was a case of, as the anxiety wore off, it was, just forget it and move on. And hopefully everybody forgets for next time. Just that worries me slightly, as if they do crack me open, which, I think that's what needs to happen, if I'm honest. It's a little bit daunting.
I think a nice, like, syrupy, honey, banana flavoured milkshake would come out. That's about it. I think you'd be fine. I think it'd be good, Kate. I think it would make you understand loads of things, and it might even help you. I'm not a therapist myself, but I guess some forgiveness and some closure, even though your mum's not here anymore. I think that's what it's good for. It's good for getting over things and not having to feel anymore a certain way about a certain time.
Do feel fairly up to my full up of feelings and emotions and how to deal with it. So I do think probably it is on the cards. I think maybe that's my next step, because it would be good to feel freer, maybe not free, but freer of all the things that I've got scrambling around in my head at the moment.
And I think that's what we learn in sobriety, 4 years in, 10 years in, whatever, that it is a work in progress, and you learn to feel, and then there's something else that you need to do. And that's what it's like. It's this learning process that's happening in real time. We're doing it every day. We're walking the walk, talking the talk, and finding out about ourselves, which it does sound self-indulgent, but me doing that, it ripples through to my kids, and it will ripple through to my grandkids. The fact that I'm not just going to the fridge to get a glass of wine every time I feel something is a positive outcome. And finally, for anyone listening who's early in their sobriety and feeling overwhelmed by emotions, what would you want them to know?
Keep going. Just keep going, because everything, when you stop drinking in early sobriety, I didn't know how good it can get. And I think I thought when you first stopped drinking, 2-3 months in, I'm sleeping better, I'm feeling better, but it gets better and better. It's just a great way of dealing with life. Once you have cleared all the alcohol out your system, you're feeling better, you can deal with life much better. If you've got children, I so wish that I had got this information when my kids were younger. Like you, I wish that I had stopped when my kids were much younger. My kids, unfortunately, did see me drunk coming home from the pub and having to help me out. Claire Pooley wrote in her book, didn't she? And that's what my turning point was. I read the book and I didn't understand her analogy of going through the brambles and fighting your way through this after you stop drinking. And then eventually you come to the field of beautiful flowers and fluffy bunnies. And now I do know what she means. Although I've still got things going on and I've got big feelings, everything is so much better and life goes on. You can still go out. I still go to the pub. I still go to parties. I go to christenings. I go to all sorts. And it's just a case of saying no to the drink. You don't have to pick up an alcoholic drink at every occasion.
And it's such a nice feeling to know that when you can go out, you can just have a nice time. It sounds really simple, but just to go and have a nice time with no pressure, knowing you're going to feel all right the next day and knowing that you've behaved yourself and not done anything awful is just a lovely feeling. Kate, it's been so lovely to chat with you about all this today. It sounds like you're going through the motions and emotions, as it were.
Thank you so much for having me, Vic. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
If this episode has stirred anything for you, if you're feeling a bit raw, a bit wobbly, or like your emotions have suddenly gone from mute to full surround sound, please know this. You're not broken and you're not doing sobriety wrong. You're just feeling. Feelings aren't a sign you're failing. They're actually a sign that you're waking up. You don't have to master them, you don't have to fix them, and you definitely don't have to rush them. I think Kate would probably agree. It can feel like you want it to all happen in early sobriety, but actually it takes time. All that matters is that you can stay curious and stay kind to yourself and keep moving through them rather than numbing them away. Some days you'll handle your emotions beautifully. Other days, like today for me, you'll cry over something wildly insignificant, like an advert or a song or an empty mug. Both count. Both are part of the process. So if you're in that gap space, that in-betweeny land, the place where things feel uncomfortable but also strangely honest, just remember, you're learning a new way to be yourself, and that takes time and practice and lots of tea. If you're questioning your relationship with booze, struggling to moderate, or your hangovers are causing anxiety, it might be time to reach out for some support. Talk to a mate, book in with your GP, go to an AA meeting, or find an online support group. I've got one. Just head to cuppa.community. For more resources, head to soberawkward.com, where you'll find details of our amazing Thailand sober holidays, the 30-day sobriety guide, books, blogs, writing courses, and loads more. I know this sobriety thingamajig can feel uncomfortable at first, but there is help out there. Find your community, connect, and start to feel the awkward and do it anyway. And if you've enjoyed the Sober Awkward podcast, please rate it, review it, and share it with your mates. Because honestly, my mates are bored of hearing about it.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Plus, free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Meet Millie. Millie's the head of the household. She demands her dry food come with a side of wet food. Millie's sitter from Rover totally gets Millie, which is best for everyone. Find a sitter who's a perfect match for your pet. Rover, we get your pet.
So I was trying to build this website, right? And I kept getting stuck. Either the tool was super fast but didn't let me change anything, or it was powerful but so confusing. Then I found Wix Harmony. It's wild. You can let AI do stuff for you or grab the controls yourself. You can also tell Aria, your AI agent, what you're thinking, and everything just comes together. Try it out for free at Wix.com/harmony. That's Wix.com/harmony.
So, as you probably know, my comedy memoir, 1,000 Wasted Sundays, is officially out. All my magnificent fuck-uppery in one awkward hit. If you'd like to get your hands on a copy, it's now available from all good bookstores.
We always say all good bookstores, don't we?
Yeah.
Are there bad bookstores?
No, it's probably ones with moody sellers.
Oh, yeah, really depressed librarian folk.
Yes.
Good.
So there are probably some, but we're only storing it in the good ones.
It's only made it into the goodies.
You can also get it from all good online retailers. The print version and ebook are out now, and the audiobook will be available in March. I've been writing my memoir for 5 years. It will make you laugh, cry and cringe, and hopefully inspire a few people to reconsider their relationship with booze. If you love the podcast, then I think you'll love the book, even if I do say so myself. Hamish has read it. What did you think?
I feel like I know a little bit too much about you now, to be honest, Vic. Look, I really loved it. It was hilarious and surprisingly moving, but I feel like I've seen you naked in a literary sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah. From an emotional point of view, seriously, it wobbled my teeny weeny wooden heart, Vic.
Okay.
My teeny little wooden heart.
Well, his wooden heart is broken. Anyway, so if you do manage to get your filthy mitts on a copy, please do me a favour and head to goodreads.com and give me a review. Doing that will help me get it out there to those that need a bit of sober support. So there you have it. My story, unwanted warts and all. Come and get awkward with me.
Not to be too demanding or anything, but seriously, go and buy it now.
Go and buy it. Go and buy it right now.
Yeah, don't just tell your friends, buy it, and then buy your friends one or two.
Yeah, don't give them a copy, buy it. Yeah.
And you know what? Don't be careful where you store it. If you lose it, you can always buy another 5.
Buy another one.
Yeah.